So there was something that transcended the rational in you, that you trusted and followed.
Correct.
Nice.
And just knowing how important cemeteries are to some people in the population, I was like, let me dig deep.
So that was the second part, though. The first part was the rational. What are my thoughts? What am I doing? I can't scale. I don't have enough time for this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you felt something. Tell me if I don't want to put words in it, but you felt something in your body, something deeper of wisdom that was guiding you, and then you reconnected the rational to what you just told us.
Correct.
Is that pretty much that one down?
You're spot on. And on top of that, you can't tell your mentor no. You know, you can't. I can't say. You don't want to let down someone you look up to, but no, it opened up this world where we looked at pre-emancipation cemeteries from the lens of spatial, spiritual, and physical aspects. And so, to make a very long story short,
heavy.
Yeah, it was heavy. Yeah, it was really heavy. And I looked at 3 cemeteries in particular. You have Pierce Chapel, African Cemetery in Columbus, Georgia. Great story. Yamona Pierce, who's a part of the Hamilton Hood, or the founder of the Hamilton Hood Foundation, is over there. She has an awesome story. I looked at Fineman Cemetery here in Dallas, Texas, and I also looked at the Lutheran Cemetery in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And when you looked at them, you were researching. Tell us again.
Yeah. I was researching those cemeteries and actually paid 2 of them a visit. You know, what
about it though? What did you research?
Oh,
spatial,
buried, physical.
Whether there's tombstones or not.
Correct.
Okay.
So the spatial, and I'll go a little bit deep into each when I mention. So the spatial was looking at how are these cemeteries, where are they, how are they arranged? Looking at factors that are replicated once you analyze them. And what we found was a lot of the cemetery, and remind you, these cemeteries were created by enslaved individuals. So we got to keep that in mind, and about what was going on at that time, and the things that they couldn't do. Like, they weren't able to make their own decisions, how they lived their daily lives half the time. But
never mind how they finished their lives and were taken care of, but respected.
Correct.
They were buried, right?
Correct. And you would think someone that was under so much harsh treatment, when it came to burying somebody, they wouldn't be concerned about that person. Like, hey, just throw them in the hole to get back to work. But no, they actually took care of them very well. So going to the physical aspect, we saw that a lot of these...
That surprised.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. There was a lot of... some of that tradition, they believe, is passed down from African traditions and also Aboriginal... Aboriginal... what's the word I'm looking for? Practices.
Okay.
So from a physical standpoint, we saw that a lot of these cemeteries were located on a ridge overlooking a body of water and typically surrounded by trees and nature. That's one aspect. The second aspect was the physical. If you look at Pierce Chapel in Columbus, Georgia, unfortunately, there are not a lot of tombstones, but they use plant material to identify the locations of the grave.
And you were able to, after all those years, figure that out.
Yeah, there's some old yucca and periwinkle that's still growing in some of these areas. We'll get to that more in depth when the spiritual comes.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. I didn't connect fully on this.
Okay.
So this is during slavery.
Yeah.
It was like zero rights and total abuse and all that disgusting part of humanity. When they were put to rest, was it the people that were allowed to take their own people and put them to rest with respect?
Yeah.
Okay, that was my disconnect before.
Yes.
Because I didn't even know that would be allowed to happen.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they would allow them to bury their dead. And there's also journal entries from people visiting plantations and saying how immaculate these funeral processions were.
Yeah.
So they really took this serious. Going back to the physical, we also noticed that, like the example of the one Lutheran cemetery in Baton Rouge, they stacked the graves on top of one another, mainly number one because of the lack of space. But also because they wanted to be close to their loved ones. Like, I want to be buried in the same area where my mom, my grandfather, my great grandfather is buried.
A lot of spiritual history to that, which we'll get into, right?
Correct. So that's a great segue. So going back to spiritual, being next to water, they view water as a conduit to the next phase of life. And also some believe that they also saw it as a way back to the motherland was through water. Some of the graves were also oriented east to west because of the biblical verse about Gabriel blowing his trumpet. They wanted to already be facing in that direction, so when they raise up out the ground, they're facing the direction that the sound of the trumpet is coming from. And this is my favorite part, and ties in greatly into what I studied and what I learned as far as landscape architecture and how I use it today, is that they use plant material because they believe, through the processes of the plant, they will soak up the essence of that person and they will live on. So there's a great video of a woman out of Louisiana who goes to her ancestral burial grounds and she touches a tree and she's like, I'm touching my ancestor. Yeah. I'm talking to my ancestor.